Well, good morning, friends and neighbors. Never really intended this to be a lifestyle sort of channel, but there's enough that's different about my off-grid living mode that I thought it might be interesting to just go through a morning routine, thought process, decision making, and show a little bit about how I get my day started here on the mooring. It's now winter, late December, just about January, and things happen a little differently. You think about things a little differently when you're in this off-grid mode and you're tracking all of your energy creation and use. Out, 58 in mid-cabin. Toolbox heater has been running on full blast, level 6 all night. Battery is at 12.24. That was at full charge last night, about 6 p.m. And it's a beautiful morning. We've had some snow. The air is cold, but crisp and dry, so it doesn't have that same cold feeling as a damp air. Nonetheless, the first thing you've got to do in planning your day out here is to have an awareness of the weather you've got, the weather you expect, and decide how to deal with that. You've got to know where your batteries are at, what temperature the cabin's at, make sure the heater that's been the primary heater overnight is running and powered up properly, and then make a decision about your secondary heat source that you're going to use to get the temperature where it's comfortable and where you'd like it to be. This morning there's no wind, so I think we'll go with the wood stove this morning for our secondary heat source. Okay, the wood stove starting to come online and drawing nicely. Next decision, what do we do about energy? Well, it's forecast to be a windless but sunny day. Still, at this time of year, the sun angle is low enough on the horizon that starting the day at a voltage as low as 12.25, that's a little bit of a concern that we'll get to full charge with just solar energy today. So what we're going to do this morning is run the generator while I go through the morning breakfast preparation routine. Probably run it for an hour or two, get the batteries up to 100%, and then whatever we are able to collect for solar energy through the short day, we'll just be essentially keeping the battery, making sure it's topped up and ready to go tonight. I did run the generator last night. I did that more because I was concerned about the water heater. And water heater temperature this morning is 64.8. That was up at 100 degrees Fahrenheit or just over last night when I shut the generator off. As explained in a previous video, it's critical to make sure that water heater stays above freezing, and so it accounts for a lot of hours on the generator this deep in the season, with temperatures going down into the teens at night. My apologies to the world for the generator noise, but honestly don't think anyone ashore can hear it from here. The sun just peeking above the horizon. And with the generator just coming online, the voltage is already climbing. Not necessarily a good sign. Voltage goes up and down too quickly. It means your lead acid batteries have lost a lot of their amp hour storage capacity, but it is what it is. I think these batteries are 4 years old now, so we are pumping in 29 amps. That's a 30 amp Victron battery charger, so that's pretty much full bore. The other reason that I will often run the generator in the morning if it's questionable is that it makes the blender run a little faster, making my morning fruit smoothie. Makes the smoothie a little smoother.
For starters, there's this completely false portrayal of carbon as in its dioxide version, rising up into the atmosphere and staying there. What really happens is that atmospheric CO2 is voraciously consumed by plants. Limestone has long been used to make tiles and building blocks, besides classical.
And in about a half hour we are up to a nice comfortable 68 degrees, so 10 degree temperature rise. Good stove's glowing nicely. Generator has us up to full voltage, 14.4, 14.5, and we're beginning to taper our charge. We're down to 19, a little under 20 amps. Now this is the point at which, if I were concerned about the water heater temperature, 64 degrees currently, because we're going to stay below freezing all day, I would then come back to the panel and switch the water heater electric element on. You may have heard the generator ramp up there as I applied an extra 500 watt load. I don't really need to do that today. It's forecast to get up into the 30s, but I think I will bring the water heater back to full temperature just to make the most out of the generator's runtime. With it still drawing 19 amps, we're going to be running for at least another hour to get to full charge. And then at that point, I think the sun will be high enough for the solar panels to take over and replace whatever the heater is using.
Discourse. They embody distinct, incompatible worldviews. Every worldview is constituted by a metaphysic, an epistemology, and an ethic. Metaphysics is that branch of philosophy that speaks to what is ultimately real. We know what appears to be real. A metaphysic makes a claim as to what's really real. Epistemology is the philosophy of knowledge. Can we know what's ultimately real?
Another thing I'll check is over here on the, I'm not sure if you can see it in the glare, the indoor-outdoor thermometer on top is reading bilge temperature down in the bottom of the keel, so 31 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a little disconcerting. We're getting toward the freezing point, so that brings to question how the freshwater system is doing, and leads me to come down here to my diverter. Probably not very good light, but what I'm doing is I'm opening the diverter valve that allows the diesel heater to blow some heat down into the water pump. And while the coffee and bagel are toasting up over here, we'll sit down with the morning smoothie and get started on the news of the day. Well, the coffee's up, the temperature's up, to 76 degrees. And with the toolbox heater airflow diverted to the bilge, we're up to 35 degrees in the area of the water pump, so no danger of freezing there. Now it's time for coffee and bagel. Well, here we are at the tail end of the morning routine. A couple hours after we got the whole thing started. 73, nice and stable in the cabin. Outdoors. Not sure if you can see it, but it's risen to 25 Fahrenheit. Generator is off. The water heater got up to about 92 degrees, stabilizing about 91 right now. We're at full charge, voltage-wise, 13.4. I have shut the generator and angled the solar panels, which are now making somewhere around 7 amps on the two main panels, and just a quarter of an amp on the portable panel on top of the skiff. Bilge temperature is up to 53. I guess we've diverted enough heat down there to keep the freshwater pump from freezing. I'll tweak that valve back to put some more of that air in the cabin now. And pretty much I've done the breakfast dishes. Now all that's left is to enjoy the morning news and the rest of my coffee, and to thank all you good folks out there in YouTube land for coming aboard this morning and sharing a little bit about my normal morning routine. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, share, and maybe even subscribe. We'll see you next week.